literally the definition of democracy working. Ex-U.S. attorney roasts Democrats for attacking SCOTUS after immunity ruling. Now, we know that AOC just came out and said that she's going to be trying to impeach the Supreme Court justices and all this other stuff, but who are the ones really trying to mess up democracy? Who are the ones really trying to destroy so-called democracy? It's the Democrats. They talk about replacing Joe Biden without any type of voting or primary or anything like that. Now they're talking about trying to get rid of Supreme Court justices because rulings don't go their way. The Democrat Party seems very anti-democratic. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to play the clip from Fox News. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from the Daily Caller News Foundation from Jason Cohen. And he reports that former United States Attorney Brett Tolman laughed at and criticized Democrats on Monday for attacking the Supreme Court after its presidential immunity ruling. The Supreme Court on Monday found that presidents have immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts in office following former President Donald Trump's appeal to dismiss special counsel Jack Smith's election interference case against him. Democrats criticized the decision as damaging democracy. It's so funny. I'm sorry. With Tolman on America Reports reacting by saying the ruling is exemplary of democracy functioning. So let's just play this clip here. Okay, where?
Let's bring in Brett Tolman now, former federal prosecutor and former U.S. attorney for Utah. Brett, always good to have you on the program. Judge Jeanine joined us last hour and said this on the ruling. Listen.
Whenever anyone on the left talks about an assault against democracy, you know that it has little, if any, meaning. That's their go-to line when they don't have a substantive argument. The Supreme Court is a branch that has final decision on legal decisions in this country. They are not willing to accept it if it doesn't align with their political ideology. And this is part of the institutional breakdown of our government.
But that is not stopping some Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, AOC, to which she was responding, a tweet from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others from saying this is a sign that this is a politicized court and a broken system. Brett, your response.
Well, it's literally the definition of democracy working. It is separation of powers. It is judges that just recently, Judge Barrett and Justice Roberts were praised by the left for some of the decisions that have come out. We saw several unanimous decisions. They had no issues with any of those. But now, when there's a very important case that divided on political lines, they have an issue with it. And I will tell you, Sandra, this is a decision that was actually not difficult when it comes to analyzing the law. They came down exactly where the Constitution is on it, where the law is. And it's not a slam dunk 100% win for President Trump. It's like a 90% win for President Trump when you combine that with the Fisher opinion that came out. But that's the way it should be, because we're seeing that they've been using and manipulating our criminal laws to try to take out a political opponent. And the Supreme Court said, hey, let me remind you, you have to satisfy the proper show of evidence in order to pursue this.
Well, Democrats, it seems, are not reading it as, sort of a down-the-middle decision. You had the Biden campaign holding a press call saying, and I quote, they just handed Donald Trump the keys to a dictatorship. You had Chuck Schumer tweeting, this disgraceful decision by the MAGA SCOTUS, which is comprised of 3 justices appointed by Trump himself, enables the former president to weaken our democracy by breaking the law. It undermines SCOTUS's credibility and suggests our political influence trumps all in our courts today. The Senate minority leader suggested that there should potentially be some consequences for this kind of talk. I want to play for you what he said and see if you agree.
This goes beyond the standard disgraceful bullying my Democratic colleagues have perfected. Recusal is a judicial act. These senators are telling the Chief Justice privately to change the course of pending litigation.
So should elected Democrats who are saying this stuff face any consequences for this?
You know, I think they should. The Senate has rules of professional conduct that apply, the ethical rules. It's also concerning because these same individuals riled up their base, used, very inflammable language that resulted in different attempts to go after the Supreme Court. Literally, there was a criminal investigation of an individual that threatened to take out members of the court. This is not responsibility. This is not responsible conversation. This is not senators that are acting as statesmen. This is political pouting and tantrum throwing that could lead to consequences.
Yeah, they're just upset they didn't get their way. They're upset they didn't get their way. And it's crazy. Again, these are the same people that are saying Trump is trying to destroy democracy, get rid of democracy. And that's exactly what they're doing. Again, it's classic projection. They're projecting on Trump what they're doing. When things don't go their way, they don't care anything about democracy. And this is democracy. You got Supreme Court justices voting on an issue. That's democracy. So why are they upset about this, right?
It'll be interesting to see. As I mentioned, the Democrats are very outspoken on the issue, with Chuck Schumer calling this a disgraceful decision by the MAGA SCOTUS. The MAGA SCOTUS, Brett, which is comprised of 3 justices appointed by Trump himself, enables the former president to weaken our democracy by breaking the law. It undermines SCOTUS's credibility and suggests political influence trumps all in our courts today. For that reason, there are some who are saying, well, what does this mean if former President Donald Trump wins another term, Brett?
Well, Sandra, the law before this decision was that a president is immune when acting under constitutional authority and is immune, a presumption of immunity when acting in official capacity, and does not have immunity when acting in unofficial capacity. That was the law before this opinion. It's now the.
So if that was not the case, Obama can be tried for bombing civilians, war crimes there. Who was before Obama? George W. Bush can be tried for crime. Like, see, where does it end? So you can't have it both ways, unless they want it where if it's a Democrat president, he has immunity. But if it's a Republican president, he doesn't have any immunity. That's what they want.
A law after this opinion. And the clarification is, Jack Smith and all of you who are prosecuting Donald Trump, you can pursue it, but you have the burden of actually showing that you are charging unofficial acts that don't allow for immunity to protect the president. That's okay. Let them do it. If they have the evidence, then present it. That's why they're upset, because they don't have the evidence sufficient to show that these are unofficial acts. That's why the anger.
Yep.
All right.
They know
Brett,
they can't get them now. They know they can't get them now. That's why they're upset. They know they can't get them now because they don't have the proof. They don't have the evidence that Trump was working outside of his presidential capacity. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.